I knew, ever since I was a child, I was not like the others.
I knew mine was a special existence.
しかしそれはこんな意味じゃない。
Am I a human being?
Sephiroth, the legendary soldier chosen by the planet, the one-winged angel of despair. With his long sword, long hair, and long black jacket, he's become quite an icon since his first appearance. Humorously, some of his most iconic traits would be introduced in supplementary material, and of course, that includes his voice. Sephiroth is an ominous threat with a cold and unnerving demeanor. So, who do you get to portray that with a voice? Well, how about the bass singer from NSYNC? I'm not kidding either, and if you think that's crazy, Squall Leonhart was voiced by David Boreanaz, aka Angel from Buffy.
They'll come at you out of nowhere.
Who are you?
And they'll keep on coming at you. You can be a rainbow, and not a... painbow.
The 90s are coming back, just you wait. Like most of the Final Fantasy VII cast, Sephiroth's English voice was ironed out by Kingdom Hearts 2.
Well, that's an interesting sword you're carrying. So that's a Keyblade. And I suppose you must be its chosen wielder.
Then along came the remake, and...
7 seconds till the end. Time enough for you, perhaps.
We're given a very different portrayal, less ominous and more immature. So what situation sullied the solidly sultry semblance of Sephiroth's soothingly sadistic voice? Stay tuned while we sort this out. Janiac! Interestingly, the Sephiroth we encounter through most of the original game isn't even the real deal. You see, years before the original game begins, Sephiroth was the perfect warrior, demonstrating feats that could only be described as superhuman. Turns out, he was infused with Jenova cells while he was in the womb. After learning this, Sephiroth went mad and massacred the people of Nibelheim. Fortunately, he was stopped by Zack Fair and Cloud Strife, who I already made videos about, go check them out. Cloud pretty much ends Sephiroth by throwing him into the lifestream. Fast forward to the timeline of the original game, and Sephiroth's soul, or his will, learned how to possess Jenova's physical body and make it look like him, and yeah. For years, I remember this plot point being rather confusing. Is Jenova manipulating Sephiroth? Is Sephiroth controlling Jenova? Are they both in on it? I'm here to talk about voices, okay? And since the original game had none, we'll move right on to Ehrgeiz. Something I failed to mention in my previous videos is that this was the first time Cloud, Tifa, Yuffie, Vincent, Zack, and Sephiroth were ever given a voice. Mostly just grunting noises, but a voice nonetheless. The game's credits say that Sephiroth was voiced by Shinichiro Miki, who gave the character a confident, if a bit youthful voice here. Fascinating when you consider Sephiroth's voice in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
But that was then, and this is now. I have a favor to ask. Our beloved planet is dying. Slowly. Silently. Painfully.
Maybe they were paying homage to Sephiroth's original voice? Speaking of original voice, Lance Bass, the OG Sephiroth himself, lent his vocal talents to the character in 2002's Kingdom Hearts. This was his first English voice. Once again, it's mostly just grunts, but there are a few lines of dialogue. Strange that they felt the need to add reverb to his voice. He's a bass singer. Despite this, the voice direction for Sephiroth is yet again a youthful one, and if we switch it to the Japanese release of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, despite being voiced by Toshiyuki Morikawa, who would go on to voice Sephiroth in all other Japanese appearances hereafter, the portrayal is once again rather youthful. Which begs the question, was the original intent to give Sephiroth a young-sounding voice? The original game's manual doesn't list his age, or anything beyond his job, his weapon, and his height. He's 6'1", by the way. Did Sephiroth do this? We can safely assume that he's a fair bit older than Cloud, since Cloud and the other kids in his neighborhood looked up to the legendary soldier Sephiroth when they were just kids. Cloud is said to be 21 years old in the original game, so Sephiroth must be in his mid to late 20s. If we follow the Lifestream.net's timeline of events, Sephiroth would have been born approximately 20 years before Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, which starts 7 years before the original game. So by the time of the original game, he'd be around 27 years old. And since Kingdom Hearts is an alternate universe where the characters' depictions are loosely based on the original game, Sephiroth's voice is depicting him at age 27. Fast forward 358 days over 2, and we have Kingdom Hearts 2, where Sephiroth suddenly sounds like this.
I admit you're very skilled, but apparently Cloud is the only one who can eliminate me. Tell Cloud to come here.
George Newbern takes over in the North American release of Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2006, just 1 month before the North American release of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. It goes without saying, George Newbern's portrayal of Sephiroth has become synonymous with the character. His performance is deep and chilling. The reverb that was added in post-production for Lance Bass's portrayal comes almost naturally for Newbern. It helps that he's voiced iconic superhumans before.
I'm worried about you. You're mixed up. This world isn't like the other one. Those things you're afraid of will never happen here.
So it comes as no surprise that he'd go on to voice Sephiroth in all English appearances hereafter. That is, until Final Fantasy VII Remake. Here, he's replaced by Tyler Hoechlin, who also played Superman before.
There you go, friend.
Thanks. Cool costume.
Thanks. My mom made it for me.
Weird, right? The choice to change Sephiroth's voice came as quite a shock, seeing as how, well, the new voice sounds like this.
Careful now. Let us defy destiny together.
To be fair though, most of the time Hoechlin does give a bassy performance. This is best demonstrated in Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion.
So, how does it feel to be home after all this time? I have no hometown. I wouldn't know. My mother's name is Genova. She died shortly after I was born. My father... Why am I talking about this?
What makes him sound so different, and some might even say unfitting, is the breathiness of his voice. Before Remake and Reunion, whenever Sephiroth spoke, there was a calmness to everything he said. There was no hesitation in his voice. He's the ultimate soldier, and with that comes a steadfast confidence. At no point does Sephiroth sound unsure of himself, no matter how outlandish his aspirations may be. He wants everyone to know that his cadence is unflinching.
Now, beg for your lives.
Good to see you, Cloud. Shall I give you despair?
What say you join forces with me, Sephiroth? You too must be sickened by the feckless destroyers among us.
Not interested. Tell me what you cherish most. Give me the pleasure of taking it away.
This may be worthwhile after all.
So this new performance can at times come off a bit uncertain or insincere. It almost sounds like someone trying to sound deep rather than someone with a naturally deep voice. Having made 3 of these videos now, I must say, it's strange that the entire English cast was recast, while the Japanese voice actors were all kept. Even though Sephiroth sounded young in Kingdom Hearts 1, Morikawa was given an opportunity to add more depth.
母さん、また奴らが来たよ。 母さんは優れた能力と知識でこの星の支配者になるはずだった。母さん、また奴らが来たよ。母さんは優れた能力と知識でこの星の支配者になるはずだった。けどあいつらが、何の取り柄もないあいつらが、何の取り柄もないあいつらが。
I guess we'll just have to wait until Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to see whether or not Hecklin can really nail this performance. I don't necessarily think his performance is bad, I think the direction is just different than what we're used to. So, there you have it, my trilogy of Final Fantasy VII voices. Should I keep going? Whose voice do you think is worth another video? I still think Tifa would be worth discussing, and maybe even Aerith? Let me know in the comments down below. A little update, I'll be performing a few live music shows this year, as well as managing a few upscale private venues. I can't say much, but I can say that I'll have my hands full. So this may very well be my last video for a while. I'll come back eventually, hopefully in time for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I hope to make another video about a certain British TV series before the year ends. So I won't disappear completely, but if you just can't wait for my return on YouTube, be sure to follow me on my social medias, but especially Twitch if you'd like to see me live stream. I will still be streaming on Twitch, at least once a week, hopefully. Don't you worry. If you like hearing my voice, be sure to follow the Junior and Marcus Talk podcast, where my best friend and I talk about just about everything. If you want to talk to everyone else that's part of this YouTube community, as well as the Twitch community and a bunch of other people in the community, join my Discord. And finally, be sure to check out the merch. There's brand new stuff just waiting for your eyes. So, what song should I open with? Starlet or Anarchy and Audacity? Let me know in the comments down below. Until then, I'll leave you with this.